Hey YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel on the web for all things geeky and cool. And welcome guys to the Funko review, something I've been wanting to review for a long time now. I'm finally happy to get this guy into my collection. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Scooby-Doo Pop Town #1, which is Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion. Now I knew about this coming out about 3 or 4 months ago. When I saw the pre-release information, I said I have to pick this up. You guys know I'm a really big Scooby-Doo fan. I watched it as a kid, and this delivers in spades. An awesome item for Funko. We get both a pop and we get a landmark building, which is iconic out of the Scooby-Doo Where Are You cartoon. If you're not familiar with Scooby-Doo, basically the cartoon would play Scooby-Doo Where Are You, and it kind of zooms into this right here, this picture of the mansion, which is this item right here in the front, the mansion piece, which is the sort of the telltale hallmark of this two-piece collection. I love what they did here. Very similar to what they did with my Ghostbuster review, which is Peter Venkman and the Firehouse. You click the link above my head if you want to take a look at that particular video. Very similar kind of feel to that one. This is number 01 in the collection, the very first piece for the Pop Town line. Now the Pop Town line is going to be running for several different items. They're doing SpongeBob SquarePants, they did Scooby-Doo, and they did of course the Firehouse, which of course is this guy right here, which I did that full review, which I talked about a second ago. But this thing is very cool. They're going to do more pieces like this down the line. I like the idea what Funko's doing, but there's a big negative drawback with this collection, which we'll talk about in the breakdown segment. Speaking of breakdowns, we're going to do a full breakdown segment. We'll look at the packaging as a whole. We'll look at paint articulation and conclude final thoughts for you, the viewer. Should you spend the money and pick up Scooby-Doo 01 Pop Town, both Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion? Stay tuned guys, we're going to go to a breakdown. Alright guys, we're in a breakdown segment looking at Pop Town 01, Scooby-Doo and Haunted Mansion. And the very first thing we always do in a breakdown segment is look at the packaging and presentation. Right off the bat, it feels and looks to me like a 2-pop pack packaging, meaning you have a pop here and something else. And normally it would be 2 pops. We have of course the Haunted Mansion landmark, which gives this box a little bit more girth, a little more presentation. It's a little bigger than your normal Funko box. At the top here we have Pop Town, we have Scooby-Doo and Haunted Mansion yellow and black text. We have number 01 here. At the bottom here we have the very iconic lettering of Scooby-Doo that we've seen for the cartoons, and very important, the 50th year anniversary of Scooby-Doo, where we've broken from the cartoons that we saw years and years ago. On this side of the box we have sort of a backdrop of lettering that says like very cartoony, very comic book strippy. That's what it looks to me. On this side we have Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion, and the back of the packaging, again, similar sort of lettering that we saw from this side of the box. On this side of the box, a nice shot of Scooby-Doo, and you have the Haunted Mansion. It does say 50th year anniversary and Scooby-Doo lettering, and all the characters that are available in that particular wave. I love this packaging. It feels really good. Let's get both these guys out of packaging and continue the breakdown segment. Alright guys, we have Scooby-Doo and a Haunted Mansion out of packaging. The very first thing we always do when we take something out of packaging is look at the paint and articulation. But before I do that, I want to show you kind of, they gave you in the back of the packaging, they gave you this insert. I'll put it a little closer so you can see. It's sort of a spooky backdrop that you would have in the back of the packaging to give sort of this really cool effect here. Kind of a spooky insert presentation. It is just a piece of cardboard. It is blank on the back side. So if you want to present this with your Scooby-Doo and your Haunted Mansion, you can do that. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. Just a little throw in they did. I like how they did that. So let's first take a look before we do anything at Scooby-Doo first. We'll take the Haunted Mansion out of the shot for right now and just focus really on Scooby-Doo. Scooby looks really cool. I think this is a brand new sculpt they're using because he's not sitting on his back legs with his paws up. He's on all fours. And one thing that Funko has done very well, it was the Funko Pets line. So they gave us Scooby-Doo. Of course, he's a dog, and they do dogs very well for Funko. He is all brown, as you can see here, with black eyes, black nose, a kind of a bent ear. He does sport his teal collar with a little, I don't think it says Scooby-Doo. It doesn't, no, it says SD on it. It does say SD right there in this teal little tag. It is teal across his neck. I don't know if you can really see that right there. Might be hard to pick up. He is spotted across the back here. The tail does kind of flow in a nice kind of wavy direction. There is articulation, head can spin, but one thing you'll notice right here is the tail and the mouth, because the tongue is open, it will clip that tail, so be careful. You might want to move the tail a little bit, maybe some warm water or a hair dryer to kind of adjust this tail so you don't break it or rub the paint of the vinyl off the tongue. Just something to be aware of. I love the way he looks. He screams Scooby-Doo. Look at him. Funko did a phenomenal job with this sculpt of Scooby-Doo. I absolutely love it. Now let's bring in the Haunted Mansion here, because this thing is very, very cool. Normally, when we saw this in the cartoon, we always saw it from this perspective, as you see dead on right here. And I like what Funko did. They extrapolated what the rest of this building would look like from the other sides. It looks very, very cool. I love the design for it. You even have the spooky ghost coming out right here from that window. It is a kind of a tealish light blue color, kind of a darker blue on the roof. It goes to a lighter teal color down here. You do see the windows. And I think they did a great job sculpting this just really right out of the cartoon. I love the way this looks. But there's an inherent problem with this, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. It'll make perfect sense. The problem we run into, very similar to the Ghostbuster review when I did this guy right here, which is Peter Venkman and the Firehouse, same sort of review I did. If you haven't watched that video, take a look at it. You click the eye above my head after this video. Definitely take a look at that video as well. You'll understand what I'm talking about in this particular video. The problem you run into is a sense of scale. And what I mean by that is you have a standard size Funko Pop, in case Scooby-Doo here, with about a 5.5, maybe to 6 inch tall building. It really plays tricks with your eyes because the character really wouldn't fit in the building. Yes, we know it's not supposed to fit. We get that. However, if you would have scaled the building up higher, meaning make this, let's say, 10 inches in size, it would have really fixed the problem in the sense of scale. Or you could have scaled it down. You could have made it a much smaller, giving us a Scooby-Doo, and made them, let's say, Ash size here. If you made them this big right here, it would have worked perfectly with this building. Like, let's say, if you look at the door, perfect sense of scale. This would have really worked in this situation. Now, if they would have done this, then you'd have to really drastically change the price point. You'd have to either make, if you made the building taller, you have to increase the price, probably $35 to $40 US, or if you scaled him down to Ash size right here, it'd be about $15 or $20 US. That's the only real problem I have with this 2-pack. That's the only thing that really kind of grinds my gears, that I have an issue with, is a sense of scale, because it really tricks your eye. I think Funko could have gotten around this, maybe even could have increased the price of what I talked about in the Ghostbuster in this video right here when I did this review. I said, give us this one and Scooby and this building, and maybe charge it, instead of $25, make it $30 US. That really would have been perfect, because then we could have had that differential in scale, which I was mentioning earlier. That would have been kind of off the board. But because you have it like this, it really is a scale problem. It really tricks your eyes. But I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. And with that being said, let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. Alright guys, final thoughts on Pop Town 01 Scooby-Doo and Haunted Mansion 2-pack. If you're a Scooby-Doo fan, you should be picking up this 2-pack. Price point dead on the money at $24.95 US. I think this is an awesome representation of Scooby-Doo and that Haunted Mansion right there. It's a throwback to what I feel nostalgia when I was growing up as a kid watching the Scooby-Doo Where Are You cartoon and saw the mansion, the bats fly by. The Haunted Mansion was sort of iconic for Scooby-Doo. Again, this is celebrating the 50th year anniversary of Scooby-Doo. The biggest problem with this 2-pack is not the price, but the sense of scale. And what I mean by that is you have Scooby here, normal scale, and you have a 5.5 inch building or landmark that goes in this Pop Town 2-pack collection. It really throws your eye off when you think of normal Pop fitting into this sort of scaled down building. And they could have remedied it in two different ways. They could have scaled the Haunted Mansion up to about 10 inches, which would then work in scale size compared to Scooby, or they could have scaled Scooby down to, let's say, a pocket Pop size like this guy right here, Ash, and that would have worked as well. If you would have scaled the building up as a 2-pack, you probably would have to sell it probably about $35 or $40 US. Scaling out the Scooby down to a smaller scale would probably be about $15 or $20 US. That's how I would have fixed the issue. Again, it really tricks your eye when you really look at it. When you take a step back and judge it for the property you see in front of you, it really messes with your eye a little bit, at least from my perspective. But I hope you like this full video review of Scooby-Doo Pop Town 01, featuring, of course, Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Mansion. Remember to click that like button, click subscribe with a picture of my face. When you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to be notified of the latest videos. Of course, last but not least, you can click the windows over here to watch more of my content. Take care, guys. See you next video, and bye-bye.